Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man, for those who don't know, man, you tuned in right now to Carbon 12 Boxing Club, man. We on, not for a long time, but we on for a short time, you know what I'm saying? So, it's been a while since I've been able to do it live. So I decided that I wanted to come on, man, politic with my good people, if any of them come on. Well, algorithm purposes and shit like that, but definitely want to talk about the sport of boxing, man. We got Fundora versus Thurman coming up. We got KOs versus Lima. We got Stephen Fulton, cool boy to some. You know what I mean? We got him going up against Oshaquie Foster. So some pretty good battles coming up. We coming straight off of the Terrence Crawford and Canelo, you know what I'm saying, situation. So I'm liking how we finna wrap up the year. Of course, you got Tank and Jake Paul as well. But you know how that go. I ain't. So, we really want to see what some of the people think, chop it up with some familiar faces if possible. Depending on how the live goes. My bad, y'all. Pardon me. You know what I'm saying? I had to put that gas in it. You already know how that go. But yeah, man, we got Stephen Fulton, got Oshaquie Foster, we got Fundora, we got Thurman. Who else we got? Boots versus Lima. So we got some pretty good matchups before the end of the year is over with. Of course, you got Jake Paul and Tink, which I really ain't looking forward to that. But nevertheless, it's here. It's another. I don't know if you call that an exhibition or whatever the fuck they want to call it, but it's another something for people to pay attention to, as far as boxing goes. Um, who else? We fresh off of Canelo and Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Nicholas? What's the word, man? Appreciate you for tapping in. First of all, let me just say, man, thank you to everybody who has been supporting Carbon 12 Boxing Club. You know what I'm saying? This shit has been a journey for me, you know what I'm saying? As far as, I specialize in dealing with boxing highlights, breaking down film. I always been watching boxing. I ain't gonna say always, because at some point you gotta be born, right? You know what I mean? But it feel like that, you know what I'm saying, for some time. I'm 36 years old, so man, I've been into this sport before I could even understand really what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Having, 6 brothers and things like that. Older brothers at that. So, we love boxing, and I grew up in the pay-per-view era. I got schooled on a lot of the boxers that came before me, just because I hung around, people like my pops and uncles and shit like that, and just like to hear what they had to say, about anything sports related, especially coming up in the 90s. And the times before then. I appreciate the light too, man. Shout out to you, Roman, and shout out, yeah, for sure, Nicholas, man. We love boxing, man, for sure. um, just to give a little history on myself, because, I ain't really done it on none of these lives, and I really don't go live too much, but yeah, so I never went pro, no shit like that. I wanted to get deeper into boxing. I say probably around about like 13, 14, but my mother wasn't going for it. My mother was not going for it, which is crazy because I played football. Like, that's damn near worse if you ask me, but My Deuce wasn't going for it, but we always was into boxing. My older brothers was able to box and shit like that. So I pretty much was into, you know, boxing, football, basketball for sure, baseball, all the sports. If you came up in the 90s, man, we was watching everything. You know what I'm saying? So, but saying that to say, as I got older, when I turned about, I say like 18, I actually got and went into an official gym and started training. And my training was the late, great OG, triple OG, I should say, Ron Lyle. If you don't know who Ron Lyle is a guy who fought Ali back in the day. And he fought George Foreman too, if I'm not mistaken. So, but that was my OG. That's who introduced me into an actual boxing gym. Other than that, you know, it was street boxing and shit like that. But my first time going into a gym was at 18 with the late great, my coach, Ron Lyle. And we trained in Denver at the Red Army Thrift Center. I think that's what they called it anyway, but yeah, Ron Lyle, man, the great. If you don't know who Ron Lyle is, definitely look him up. He was a great coach too, great coach. Funny as shit, and just learning his history before he actually even became into boxing. Ron Lyle was one of them guys, you know, similar to other guys back in that time that came up off of the streets and ended up in the gym and really probably wasn't even thinking about being professional, but ended up becoming professional. So, you know, but it was crazy because I got introduced to him. I worked at this place in Denver when I stayed there for 5 years called Panera Bread. And I got real cool with this older guy that became like one of my OGs too. And he ended up passing away, but nevertheless, and RP Ron Lyle too, both of them. But he they went to the same school, which is East High, if I'm not mistaken, in Denver. So he was like, you know, when I told him that I love boxing, you know, he was an older guy that took to me, you know what I'm saying, just for me working at this job, and he just took to me all the time, coming to see me, you know what I mean? So appreciate that. I don't want to mess your name up. I'm gonna say CO and not like the police. Co, that would be Co, you know what I mean? We'll go with Co. Go outside and do spin. Oh, come on, Nicholas, man. Don't be trolling like that, dog. And if you is gonna troll, man, just hit the like button. You know, I ain't gonna see you nowhere. Jim V said Panera Bread was lit back. Yeah, I heard. I kind of imagined that it went down. I ain't went there some years. But nevertheless, long story short, I ended up meeting one of my OGs that at Panera Bread working there and shit. And I was like 18. And he was just asking me what I like to do and shit. I'm like, shit, man, I love boxing and stuff like that. So he was like, shit, you sure? And I'm like, hell yeah. So he's like, man, I'm gonna introduce you to somebody, man. And he was telling me about Ron Lyle and shit. And I'm not gonna cap. I didn't know who Ron Lyle was back then. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was pretty schooled into, you know, the older fighters, you know what I'm saying? But he passed by me. I didn't know who he was. So when my OG, he ended up being a manager at a bar. So being that he was a manager there, Ron Lyle would come there. So I'm just thinking he just talking, you know what I'm saying? But obviously Ron Lyle was somebody who was highly respected in Denver and known for boxing. I'm just not knowing this shit. So I'm thinking but I'm hearing it, so I'm thinking he really capping. I'm like, he ain't talking about that. And long story short, my OG actually ended up introducing me to him at his pool hall that he had. And that's pretty much when I made my way into an actual legit gym at the age of 18 years old. And I stayed there for about 2 years. And I appreciate the likes too, to whoever you know, liked the live. I definitely appreciate it. So yeah, man, that's how I got into the sport of boxing even deeper from a personal level. I always was a student of it. I always was more based on like the IQ, you know, things of that nature. I appreciate that. That's what they say about me too, Cole. I'm gonna just take that and embrace it. I don't know if you're trolling me or not, but I'm gonna just embrace that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So here we are. Hold on, man. Let me see something real quick. I don't let you send the lives up. Oh, I appreciate that, Cole. I really appreciate that, bro. I never know, man. People be trolling on it sometimes. Even if you was, I was still gonna, embrace it. You know what I mean? But I definitely appreciate that, brother, for real. You know what I'm saying? And that's confirmation. You know what I'm saying? From things that I hear from other people. So I'm living right. You know what I mean? But yeah, so shout out to Ron Loud, man, because if it probably wasn't for Ron Loud, that's where I got my foundation and my real courage in the sport of boxing, as far as in a gym. You know what I mean? Like I say, I always been interested in boxing. I always followed it, been a student of it, more of a student than anything. And when I got to hit the gym with Ron Loud, it gave me the physical, perspective and appreciation for the sport. It's one thing to, sit back and be a fan of the sport and things of that nature, but to actually get in that fucking ring and, have to be on point and aware, and that's why at the age that I'm at now, when I watch these fights and I break down, whenever I do give my opinion or input, it's very, I ain't gonna say detailed, but my IQ in this sport, I might not be nowhere professionally or, ever in the sport, but, as far as like my IQ and my passion for this shit is deep. You know what I'm saying? It run deep. And it's always, a great thing to come into others that, share the same admiration and understanding for a dangerous ass sport such as boxing, man. Boxing is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Just like many other sports, but boxing is very dangerous. And I think when you understand the aspect of how important having an IQ is and being aware, timing, patterns, rhythm, footwork is like, something that I stress damn near top 3 of my concerns with a fighter. So, I desire to someday be a trainer or, in somebody's corner, a winning champion's corner, you know what I'm saying? Or, if not a trainer, or I would even do cut men or something like that, strength and conditioning, something so where I could be motivation in a champion's corner. That's my desire, but even if none of those things, if I could bring forth to the sport, maybe like, or somebody's corner, or camp, I would say, or team, I would want to do things like film and stuff like that from a coach's perspective, because my film observation and IQ is second to none, And I think that's what stagnates a lot of these fighters now, It's kind of like they say, you only as great as the people that came before you, There's been some fine blueprints laid in the sport of boxing and some jewels and gems that's been laid by fighters that came in previous times, you know what I'm saying? The athletic ability may be a little different now, and maybe some people's eyes advance more, but I even question that when you go back and see film, man. You saw, and especially in a lot of the older fighters' films, I feel like they focused more in the pocket when it came to boxing, and they had to focus on that more so much that maybe the average boxer possibly back then might have better in-pocket skills at times than some of these modern fighters, So it's subtle things like that that really matter. Of course, footwork, angles, but I don't feel like people stress footwork and angles enough. And a lot of the modern day boxers' issues could be solved with just simply going back and watching and observing the mistakes and the positive things that some of these boxers brought forth in and outside of the ring. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So that's my little spill on the sport of boxing. I'm pretty sure I'll have to come on here another day and explain it, because, of course, I'm building and trying to get back into the algorithm. So, and I still train now. Actually, I just was training at the same gym as Brian Norman Sr. So, I mean, not senior, junior. I'm tripping. In Atlanta, that's so they're currently relocating. So that's why I haven't been doing any footage in the gym. Or sometimes some of you guys might have started following me when I was going live in the gym. Getting it in myself. I appreciate that, Cole. For real, man. I definitely appreciate that. But, you know what I'm saying, I want to talk about, some of these up-and-coming fights. Like I said, I ain't going to be on too long, but first of all, shout out to my guy, Greg Hackett. It's my bro. Nothing but love and respect for Greg. I'm going to always shout him out on my lives, you know what I'm saying, because, Greg started his shit around about the time I started my shit. And I'm speaking to, like, a platform on YouTube, and my cousin. So these are two individuals that I've seen surpass me on YouTube and not even really knowing to take this shit serious. So that motivates me. So salute to my cousin G Nolan, who covers podcast information when it comes to like entertainment and stuff like that. Doing really, really great on his channel. I think he might be up to like 30, 40 something K. And then shout out to Greg, man. Greg definitely deserves all the recognition. And man, he's gonna be larger than life. I seen it before he did it. You know what I mean? So I kind of stagnated my journey, just getting caught up in the day-to-day stuff, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, I'm here. And I appreciate these brothers for allowing me to be able to come on their platform and build with others. Shout out to 2 Cent. Shout out to Empty the Clip. Brother Tingo. We got Bang. Brother Bang, man. You know what I mean? I don't really watch too many people content. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really too tough on the internet as well. So I'm battling that as well as far as getting consistent with making content. But I'm grateful because I'm somewhere at 800 subscribers based off of something that I just didn't even know that I was even to take serious. And I still possibly ain't took this as serious as I should be. But that's the accountability that I'm speaking to now. And seeing some of my people that started out, if not before me or around the same time, doing great right now. So if you got a YouTube platform on here, man, just stay consistent. I can tell you that much. This coming from somebody who got 800 and growing. I'm growing every day. And I don't work as nearly as hard or dedicate myself to this shit as I should. But we got Sebastian Fundora going against Keith Thurman in the 154-pound division. And to say to that, hey man, Cole, I appreciate you. For real, man. I definitely appreciate you for stopping through. You ready? You ready? Huh? Yeah, hell yeah, if you ready. Huh? Nah. I'll go. That's funny. Nah, I appreciate you, Cole. I'll be in a minute. I appreciate you, Cole, for sure. For the support, man. And I definitely look forward to seeing you soon. You know what I'm saying? One of my people's got an interview they're gonna go to, and I really want to support them because they supported me. And I really was getting on hoping that, I could touch bases, with the people. But more than likely, I'll probably end up coming on later because it is a little early. But I definitely appreciate the like. Shout out to Nicholas. Shout out to Cole. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who pulled up, even the people I don't know that might have pulled up and didn't say anything. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to definitely pop back on later on. Maybe in a few hours where, people still maybe at work and things of that nature, so we can get into some of this boxing talk a little bit. Keep the algorithm going, man. So other than that, I appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, once again, Greg Hackett, Empty the Clip, 2 Cents, Tago, Bangman. I don't know too many other people. I don't really watch too many others like that. So these people who I respect, they mindset in the sport of boxing, man. But till next time, we gonna catch y'all, man. Y'all be safe out here. Don't do nothing what I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? Till next time.